Hello. Welcome to Fat Mascara. Hi, everyone. It's Jen. So today we have an interview with Kilian Hennessy, whose fragrance brand, Kilian Paris, is now 16 years old. If you know about Kilian Paris, I mean, you probably do because you listen to this podcast, but it might be because of their blockbuster scent, Good Girl Gone Bad, or maybe the famous Love Don't Be Shy. If you remember, Jackie Aina set off a rumor back in 2019, like this was before Fenty even had a perfume, that Love Don't Be Shy was actually Rihanna's signature scent. And the internet has taken off with that. Everybody believes it. I was not able to confirm, ever. This interview actually originally aired around then. And believe it or not, it was Kilian's first ever podcast. In fact, the brand was still called by Kilian at the time. Like I said, it's now Kilian Paris. Anyway, I was listening back to re-edit this, and it struck me how quickly the fragrance world has evolved. Like this wasn't that long ago, and we were still talking about how hard it is to get millennials excited about perfume. Like Gen Z cologne boys and fragrance talk certainly didn't come into the equation. And Kilian scents were very niche. I mean, they're still very niche. They're in the luxury category, of course. But some of the way he thinks about scents, the gourmands he's created, like the playfulness, all those scented ancillary products, that has certainly become more mainstream. So I think this is the perfect steamy and sultry interview for a hot July weekend. So I hope you enjoyed. I also have to say, Kilian is quite the storyteller. So let's get into it.
We are here with Kilian Hennessy, the founder, the creator, basically the guy behind By Kilian. We're very happy to have him here. I feel like you don't really come out and hit the scene too often. You're not doing lots of podcast interviews.
No, actually, it's my first one.
You came here in like leather gloves and a jacket and just looking very Kilian-ish.
Yeah. Also, did we mention By Kilian is a fragrance company? And
I think
much
I said
more.
By Kilian fragrances.
Yeah. Welcome to Fat Mascara.
He's also the best scented man ever.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't want to embarrass you, but I said Kilian Hennessy. Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Hennessy. You're Hennessy.
You sound very sexy when you say it.
It's kind of hot in this little pod box. What does that mean, and what led you to fragrance?
What does it mean to be Hennessy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, really. What I know is that when I was young, I felt the name to be a strong pressure, to be heavy on my shoulders.
Of the Hennessy dynasty, if any of you don't know what I'm talking about.
All I know is the liquors.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're on the same page.
The cognac liquor.
Yeah, of course.
Rappers were throwing it around in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, and it's still on.
Okay.
Yeah. No, what I knew after college is that, or even before college, is that I didn't want to work for my family. This is something that I knew I didn't want to do. I still had no idea what I would want to do, but when I was in college, I did a semantic and semiology kind of university.
Where'd you go to school?
It's a school that's part of Paris 4 Sorbonne, and it's called CELSA. It's a 5-year program that trains to all communication and marketing jobs. And during my last year, I wrote a thesis on the semantics of scents. And in order to understand what I would be writing about, I did a nose school in parallel with my 5th year. And when I started smelling essential oils and synthetic notes and raw materials, I was hooked immediately, first day, first second. So, I knew immediately that perfume was going to become my world.
So, I mean, there's some parallels. There's some relationship between. They're both very kind of sensual, luxury items.
I think you're right. When I think back, I feel that...
They're not needs.
True.
I need liquor and perfume. I don't know about you.
I agree. I mean, past 8 p.m., I do need...
There's sort of refinement to both of them.
Yes, and it's funny. I feel that it was close enough to the world of cognac to feel comfortable, but far enough to keep my family at a distance.
Why did you want to be so removed from your family business? I always feel like, I wish I had like a sweet family business I could just kind of like slide into.
Depends on which family you were born.
Oh, okay.
So what was your family's reaction when you just announced, I'm going to go make fragrance?
I had different reactions from different people, but in general, it was not an issue because Hennessy was already part of a much bigger conglomerate called LVMH, who didn't belong to the family anymore.
Right.
So it's not like you're living the family business. The business was not a family business anymore.
Was anybody surprised about the perfume thing? Or they're like, this fits with Kilian's personality?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you're one of the few fragrance brands that's very sensual in its approach. And I shouldn't say few. Fragrance has always had a long history with Calvin Klein being very sexy, YSL being very sexy. But I think right now I love it. I think it's very interesting that you are just so like, this is my brand. It's going to be sensual. It's going to be audacious. And it's very distinctive. You don't waver from it. Why do you take this approach?
Well, I don't really think in those terms. I do.
I'm not saying it's like sexy, like, like in your face.
A niche brand with a lot of them going more about the ingredients or things like that. And you're about,
Sorry to interrupt you. I don't mean like you started to speak. I just mean like it's not afraid. It's not wishy-washy.
No.
As a strong point of view.
I think two things. One, when I built my brand 12 years ago, obviously the competition was all about raw materials. And I understand the need, why they needed to go back to naming perfume just by the main ingredient the perfume is supposed to capture. But frankly, it has never been the origin of perfumery. When you go back to the 18th century, the eau de cologne, you have great names, Even if you look at the birth of Guerlain and perfumes like L'Heure Bleue or Shalimar, those are not, and Shalimar, just to give you an idea, Shalimar is the first use of synthesized vanilla in a perfume. Guerlain, who is a chemist, could very well call his perfume vanilla. But he's inventing a structure, and for him, he's expressing the Orient. Mm-hmm. So it's a vision. So in order to express this vision, he calls his perfume Shalimar, which is an Indian word, blah, blah, blah. But what I mean is that the perfume and the name need to be combined together because it's very hard for someone who doesn't really has the proper culture when it comes to perfume. And frankly, it's a long process to acquire that culture. For someone who doesn't have the culture, when you smell perfume, you don't really know what you're smelling, But if you put a name on the scent, then you're narrowing down the emotion. You're telling the person, this is what I'm trying to express. This is the emotion that I'm trying to express. So for me, words and scent go so well together. Probably also because that's my background.
And your thesis, right?
Exactly. So, but again, I also think it's the origin of perfumery, If I take another example like L'Heure Bleue, when Monsieur Guerlain goes see the bottle designer, because also every scent had a different bottle at Guerlain. So even again, the chemist that was Guerlain understood the power of the bottle, the influence that the bottle will have on the perception of the scent. So when he creates L'Heure Bleue, for him, L'Heure Bleue is this moment in Paris when the sun sets, but there is still light in the sky, and it's a gorgeous blue. And so he's talking to the designer about his love of Paris. Mm-hmm. And that's why the designer has the idea, because he keeps hearing his love for Paris, to create a bottle where the cap looks like a heart upside down. Mm. But without the name L'Heure Bleue, there is no story about his love, and there is not this iconic bottle today at Guerlain.
Yeah.
So for me, perfume has always been a triptych: bottle, name, and scent.
So on your bottles, your logo, you also have a shield, right? Or you also have a shield, like emblem?
Yes. So we all know that perfume is very much about seduction,
Yeah.
When you go out on a date, you do put perfume on and you're hoping that the scent will magically attract the person in front of you. But when you go to work in the morning, I don't know about you, but I'm not specifically in seduction mode. Unless...
You're not allowed anymore.
It's true. It's true.
It's a no.
No, it's true. It's a
bad.
no
Yeah,
today,
no.
especially in the US.
No.
But let's imagine another country than the US. Unless you have someone in your floor that you're having an eye on, you're usually not in seduction mode. But when you close your eyes and you think about the moment where you put perfume on yourself before leaving the house, for me, you're putting a layer between you and the outside world. You're putting a shield.
It's true.
And that's why I wanted to give protective, like a shield and protective powers to my perfumes.
I love that.
By carving a shield motif on the side.
I know what you're probably going to say. It depends on the person. But I just have to ask you, like, what's a good work for fragrance? Or like work, or for you, like, what do you...
A good work? What do you mean?
Like a good work fragrance. Like, I don't put
wear
on
to the
like
office.
a very
to go to the
sexy
office.
fragrance
Or like
to
work
go to
out?
work.
What kind of work are we talking about?
No, like I don't put. I actually would like to know what you work out in, like what fragrance.
I want to put on a repellent sometimes. Like don't talk to me. I'm busy.
Yeah, like there are fragrances.
There's many brands for that.
Ooh. I definitely don't. There's some fragrances I wouldn't dare put on for work. Wouldn't dare. But I'm curious to know what kind of protective fragrances you would put on for work, or what kind of like power fragrances. Like, what do you think is a good like work, meaning office fragrance?
Well, when I go to a work environment, I want a perfume that is probably more chic, not too powerful, because you're not in a work environment to leave a trail behind you. You want something that stays rather close to you, feels chic and feels, a bit more chilled, probably.
What from your collection?
So many. I don't know. You could wear vodka on the rocks, which is fresh but a very long-lasting freshness. If you're a woman, you could wear Good Girl Gone Bad, which is actually our iconic scent. But for me, it's above that. It's a very beautiful bouquet of flowers, like we don't do anymore, because we don't barely use those natural flowers anymore in perfume. And Good Girl Gone Bad is really a whirlwind of flowers. It's absolute after absolute after absolute. It's actually my most expensive perfume to produce.
And you're talking about romance and sensuality and also the shields, but you're cheeky too. There's a sense of humor, even with the names Vodka on the Rocks, Good Girl Gone Bad. What's the clutch you like about being 29?
Oh, it says like, I will be 29 until further notice. I was just like, I love Kilian. He's just so cute.
It's now making
He's
sense
funny.
now that I know like what your background is and your thesis, but like what makes you laugh? Like, did you think that was missing? Because I always think humor is missing from
I
marketing.
actually feel that it doesn't exist in the perfume market,
Right?
the sense of humor.
None.
So, and I love it personally. So,
What's like
again, I'm not trying to do things for specific reasons. I try to be very honest about my creative process, and everything I do is very personal and in a way kind of autobiographic. I feel like in 20 years, we can write a book by all the names of the scents.
Oh, we'll know your life. Okay, how about this, though? I do this when I'm like, I need a good laugh, and I just go on YouTube. I have a couple videos that I go back to again and again. Jess and I have some in common. What makes you laugh? That like when you're in a mood and you just need a good laugh?
Probably a French movie.
Which French movie?
Would you know an actor called Louis de Funès?
I'll pretend I do.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
So you should watch Louis de Funès movies.
Okay, they make you laugh.
Die laughing.
All right, now I got to get on that. I got to learn French first.
Maybe there's subtitles.
It would
for
help.
that.
No, actually,
it doesn't translate.
It wouldn't help because it's so much about his mimics and the faces he makes, and it's one of the greatest actor.
Okay. We're talking about expansion, right?
So you recently, I love this. You recently had a party at your home for your new scented lipsticks. I'm not making this up. Okay, only you could have a lavish party for the most lavish perfume lipstick, and they're gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's not your first expansion, though. You also did beautifully perfumed scented, that's redundant, beautifully perfumed lingerie. Mm-hmm. You also have done clutches, which you just mentioned.
Jewelry, scented jewelry.
Scented jewelry. I love the jewelry is stunning. The jewelry looks like it's belongs in the windows of Cartier. I mean, it's
because
stunning.
they've been designed by an amazing jewelry designer named Elie Top. Elie was the jewelry designer for Lanvin under Albert Elbaz for 15 years.
Wow.
So everything you have seen during the Albert Elbaz years at Lanvin, it's all designed by Elie.
Wow. So what did you always know that you wanted to expand when you came up with your line? Was it like, I'm going to start with fragrance, or has this been a natural evolution?
Well, again, it's funny because for me, it's not that new. Back in the days when the streets were not smelling like they smell today, people were wearing what we call pommandeur. There was those necklaces, and they had a kind of an egg shape around the neck, and the egg was containing a potpourri of smells. So whenever they were crossing a street where the smell was not up to their liking, they would just take the necklace and take it close to the nose so they could go through the streets. But it looked like a piece of jewelry. And when you look at my jewelry, the way it works is that there is a mechanic system where the jewelry opens and we can slide a ceramic stone that can be scented with any perfume of your choice. But the way women wear it is actually exactly the same gesture as back in the 18th century. They play with it, they smell it, because there's something really fun about it.
Yeah.
And when they wear the ring or the bracelet, each time they take their phone, which is rather often right now, they get whips of perfume. So the one thing the one comment we're getting from all the women wearing the jewelry is that they actually get to enjoy their perfume again. Because let's be honest, the perfume, you like it when you try a new scent, you smell it the first few days, but after a while, you don't smell your own scent. It's actually a pleasure that you give everyone around you except yourself.
Right.
But with the jewelry, you get to rediscover your own scent.
That's a nice way to do it. We need that on the subway when we're coming to the pod.
And I won't talk about the scented lingerie because that was an experience.
This is a podcast. You have to talk about it. You don't just drop that line and not.
It was positive, or was it you moved on from it?
Oh my God, it was so funny. So I did this collaboration under the Estée Lauder Companies era time. And it was one of the first...
Sorry, it was under the Estée Lauder...
Like, I did this project. My company was already acquired by Estée Lauder Companies.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that in a second.
So when I was alone, I would do the products I want. I had...
You were your own boss.
I would just not ask anything to anyone.
Yeah.
But in the case of Estée Lauder Companies, there is processes.
Oh my God, did you go rogue?
No, I did not go rogue. But... So in the case of the lingerie, what you scent is the lace. You don't scent the silk. You scent the lace.
Okay.
But the legal team, the legal team at Estée Lauder Companies were not so much afraid about the top part, but rather afraid about potential consequences of the panty.
You need me on your board.
Are we talking like medical consequences?
No, itching.
We're talking about all
sensitive
that.
area. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
you should see me on my knees trying to see exactly if the lace
touches the sensitive.
would potentially touch.
Yeah, because if you're sleeping and you're rolling around, Kilian.
Well, don't give ideas to them now.
Okay, sorry. Is it still available?
No, but I know. No, we almost sold out. But I know that you had John Dempsey on your podcast.
Yeah.
At one point, the panty had to finish on his desk, and he had to approve the signature of the release of the panty.
Oh my God.
He knows what's up. I'm sure he was like, you know what? This is a great idea. This will stand alone. It brings up though what it's like to work with a new boss. You're a niche brand, you've been acquired.
I think it's more fun. It's fun to do projects like that, because if my life had to be for the next 20 years to just do one new scent every year, I think I would just shoot myself.
Do you still have your freedom? How has it been now that you're part of a big conglomeration? We talk about this a lot on the podcast, niche brands getting acquired and what that means. What did it mean for you?
Frankly, I feel very lucky because
you were acquired in 2016?
February 2016, correct.
Okay.
Wow.
To be fair, I did
You did
my
some
homework
research.
before. Yeah.
No, I think it's fantastic for us to be part of the Estée Lauder Companies for two reasons. One is that the group has an amazing track record to build brands. And they build brands by building the desirability of the brand, not by building success stories products where you stack them up and combine, they create an equity. They really build the brand itself. What you want is the brand, not a specific product, which I think is amazing. The other thing is that they put founders and creative directors on a pedestal. And I don't have to get any approval for any new scent.
Except for the panties.
That's amazing.
That was a different, but for any new scent,
Yeah.
I just don't need any approval.
That's great. No consumer testing. We'll see if it plays well in Mississippi.
No, but obviously because our market is not that big enough to do that.
Right.
You don't have to do that huge volume.
No.
So how do you get inspired to create different scents? Like, are you someone that's like, I'm going to mood board the hell out of this for, 3 months? Or is it like you were in the kitchen one day and you're like, I'm feeling China. I'm inspired. Or like, I saw a movie last night. And like, what's your process like?
So it's a process in two steps. One, for me, it's the emotion. And the emotion is carried by the name. So if I can do a parallel, I would say first comes the script and then the acting. Well, exactly the same for me. First, the name of the scent, and that provokes the emotion that I'm trying to convey. And then I go see the perfumer and we discuss together, usually based on an accord that I give to the perfumer. We expand the accord to try to express the emotion carried by the name.
Jumping back for a second, just back to business stuff. So much of the conversation when we talk to fragrance executives, and we had this conversation a little bit with John on a broader scale, was, how do we capture the attention of the millennial? And I think when it comes to fragrance, that conversation feels especially fraught because, they want to see things, they want to Instagram it, blah, blah, blah. Is this something that, is on your mind at all, or do you just do what you do?
No, we did a collection that is called My Kind of Love, which is aimed for another type of distribution than the distribution where I was previously distributed, which is the department store distribution. This new collection is sold for now exclusively at Sephora, which is, especially in the US, it won't be the case in other countries, but in the US, this is really where the millennial customer shops.
Yeah, for the party for that, there was a tattoo artist. I waited in line for a tattoo and I didn't get one.
Really?
But some of my friends did.
Yeah, a lot of people got a tattoo.
That was the party.
It was such a fun party.
Oh my God, that party was
last summer
dope.
or 2 summers ago?
No, not
last summer.
Last summer.
Yeah.
Did you get a tattoo?
No, I had to give my place.
Do you have any tattoos?
No.
He just wanted everyone else to get them.
Well, it works. He's got a stamp on everyone.
Which one do you have?
I didn't get it at the party, but I have lots all over. We'll look later.
One of the sweetest girls on our team got some.
That wasn't an invitation. Sorry.
Remember, it was an Erin.
Erin, she got her very first tattoo.
Oh my God! It was like suddenly I was looking. She was like, "I think I might go. I think I might get a tattoo." I was like, "Cool, see you tomorrow." And then I looked at night at home. I saw an Instagram video of her getting a tattoo. Yep. I mean, that party was pretty epic.
Yeah. Well, so you know the millennial mindset, it seems.
Okay, and then what? I'm jumping around all over, but there's just so much to talk about, Kilian. We're talking about your process. I also read that you think about your collections because they do have nice themes as books.
Yeah.
So I remember there was kind of let's call it for argument's sake the druggy one,
the druggy one.
No, the addictions.
the vices one. It had the cat.
It's much more romantic if you call it vices.
Continue. I'm going to be out of job by tomorrow now.
No.
We're friends with John. We'll call him.
No,
it's fine.
I love you and I love your fragrances so much. The cannabis one, cannabis, vodka, cognac, smoke for the soul. That was the cannabis one.
Cigar
Cigar.
Monte Cristo.
But then there was like one
Turkish coffee.
Oh, that was a good one too. Then you have like one that's all like love, right? Like the straight to heaven. Like I'm like trying to show him that like I really like his fragrances.
What book is next? Like
what's coming up?
Library?
So I love.
What's the story you want to tell?
I love to create collections with multiple scents at once because it allows me to create really a story, really an olfactive book, if you want.
So what's going on
But the
now?
issue, to be honest, is that there's always one that overshadows everybody else. And it's sometimes I feel that it's a bit of a shame because I'm very proud of 2 cents or 3 cents, and one is suddenly so successful that at the counter everyone pushes the one that is very successful, and the 2 others just get like, kind of like lost behind. So we're not going to do that anymore because I feel like it's
Oh wow.
yeah, because there's scents that I absolutely adore, and they didn't get a chance.
What's like
an
unsung, like now is your chance. Can you tell us some scents that didn't get the play that they deserved?
Yeah, for example, in the last collection that I launched called From Dusk Till Dawn, it was a collection homage to Gustav Klimt. And there are 2 scents, one called Woman in Gold and one called Gold Night, night with a K. Gold Night is probably right now my favorite scent. I love it. I keep wearing it. I think each time I wear it, I get so many compliments. But Woman in Gold is something fantastic about a woman, a woman who is a woman in gold. And this scent has become a top seller immediately. And in the collection, this is the one that is being pushed over and over. So, and this one lost traction, and it's really hard to bring back traction once no one really, it didn't work out.
Wait, Woman in Gold didn't? Or Gold Night.
The Gold Night,
The Gold Night didn't.
Yeah.
Watch this podcast come out, and there's like a huge jump. Gold Night, you heard it here. Go get it.
So the next one would be a solo.
And what is that
Solo
going to
scent.
be? Or can we know?
It's really the themes that I love, that are meaningful for me. So love and addictions.
Fab. Okay.
Or the addiction of love.
What am I supposed to ask about next? The home?
Yeah.
Look, I lost track of my questions.
I know. We're like taken.
You don't do home fragrance, do you?
I do. We have candles.
What does your house smell like?
Well, during the party, the house smelled a scent called Song of Songs.
Song of Songs.
Song of Songs.
And what does that smell like?
It's resins and incense. So a little bit more spiritual, woodsy spiritual. But usually my house smells like a scent called French Boudoir, which is a tuberose.
Okay. I mean, you say French boudoir, and I know immediately. It's like powdery and like backstage at the Moulin Rouge kind of smell.
Exactly.
I feel like you love tuberose. I feel like you bring it up a lot.
It is my favorite flower.
It's powerful.
It's carnal.
It is. It is, but the truth is that it's a flower that has been mistreated by perfumers for a very long time. And because tuberose is so expensive, perfumers were reconstituting a tuberose using synthetic raw materials, and those synthetic combined together create something very strong, which is not the reality of the real flower. When I work on the tuberose, I only work with absolute tuberose, never the reconstitution.
So we want to smell a real tuberose. We need to spend we need to spend money, and it's not going to disappoint.
If you like those flowers, no.
Okay. So I feel like people have, at least in the industry, obviously not your close friends and coworkers, but they kind of think Kilian, this like dashing, debonair, like jet set, like they got this like caricature like idea of who you are. It's also like your sense and stuff. Can you tell us something that is going to surprise us?
I mean, jet set, really not.
You're not jet set?
Really
Just home?
not. No, I love to go out, but I love to go out with friends. I don't go out to public events, rarely, very little.
So, like, are you just like watching TV at home?
No, I don't do
Maybe
that
you're
either.
out with your friends.
That's it. See, you're not surprising us. This is all what we would picture.
Like, tell us something that what do you do?
I love, no, to be honest, I don't go out every night. I love staying at home and having dinner with my wife. I love that. But I do love to have a social life, but I don't do big dinners. I do one big dinner at home, usually every month. And then otherwise, I love foursome dinners.
Are you getting like a frozen dinner? I just want to picture
I just
you
want
at
to know
home.
like something that's like that we don't know about Kilian. Something that's going to surprise us.
Don't know.
Like I don't
Like
know.
when John Dempsey told us that his favorite product was like the pet cleaner stuff that he used. Remember?
Oh, yeah,
I was like, you can't picture John Dempsey cleaning up after like a cat that peed his house, you know?
And he loves Denny's.
And he loves Denny's.
What's your Denny's moment?
I don't even know what Denny's is.
Oh my God! You know what, Kilian? You really are living
on
up.
brand.
But you know
Yeah.
what? It's so funny. That's not the first time. One day I was doing a PA in Houston at a woman's house. And there's all those Texas women.
Yeah, it was like this must have been some house.
And at one point, I was with my wife, and one of them looks at me she's like, "Oh my God, you are so cute. I could eat you like a Cheeto."
And you said, "What is
And
a
I
Cheeto?"
said, "Honey, what is a Cheeto?"
So did you get a Cheeto? Do you know what a Cheeto is today?
No, I know what a Cheeto is today.
Okay.
Yes.
He's got nothing. He's on
Kilian.
brand. Left and right.
You live your brand.
You do.
You don't disappoint.
I told you, I'm honest about it.
Thank you.
They got the right guy.
Yeah. Should we ask about
You're
even
worth
I
every
just want to
penny.
end the interview right here. Should we ask about other products?
No,
next?
you're great.
We're done.
Kilian.
Fantastic.
I adore you. J'adore.
No, that's very Dior.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Okay. No,
No,
cut
you have
that.
to finish on something
Okay,
else.
hold on. Kilian.
You're a bad boy gone good. I don't know.
I could eat you like a Cheeto.
We hope you enjoyed the show. It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us, or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Raise the One product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.